Okay, so, do you enjoy playing Dead by Daylight for fun? Do you love chasing survivors, mind gaming the crap out of them? Is your favorite band My Chemical Romance and or Linkin Park? Well then, sit down and shut up. I'm Pretty Average and this is How to Play Legion. Legion is arguably one of the worst killers in the game right now due to behavior's insistence on nerfing anything and everything fun, to the point where you now have to choose between do I want to win this game or do I not want to hate myself in the morning. Despite this, Legion at their core embodies everything that the killer is. You run fast and you stab good, reinforced by the fact that your power is literally run faster, stab gooder. The downside to this is that you have limited map pressure and almost no lethality, meaning that you're about as intimidating as a mildly agitated Canadian, and survivors are painfully aware of the fact that you have to go through 4 full seconds of fatigue before you can do jack shit about the generator that's gonna pop right in front of your face. Compounding this are the random bullshit nerfs to Legion's base kit that make no fucking sense. Like the fact that hitting survivors, you know, the thing you're supposed to do, actively punishes you by removing your power. Oh, and did I mention the 4 full seconds of fatigue? This really sucks because Legion is incredibly fun and rewarding whenever you play them well, and more than anything feels satisfying. That being said, having fun won't get you to Iridescent 1, so how do we make this sad excuse for teen angst even remotely viable? Well, in order to do that, we have to focus on Legion's one major strength: being annoying. Whilst you may have trouble turning survivors into wall decorum, you are really good at being an irritating little shit and forcing multiple survivors to stop what they're doing and start paying attention to you. Legion excels at slowing down the early game provided they can find multiple survivors to harass, because inflicting deep wound on multiple people at a time can often bring the game to a standstill. Remember, survivors can't ignore deep wound or they go down, so they have to mend, giving you time to fatigue and actually start looking for downs. This means that chaining multiple frenzy stabs as early as possible is key, and getting stuck in a chase with a single survivor will often lead to you losing multiple gens, and probably that survivor due to this fucking bullshit. Okay, so let's talk about this crap. After ending your frenzy, you are stuck in fatigue, which slows you down to a crawl, darkens your screen, and gives you just enough time to realize how fucked you are, as that survivor you were chasing puts enough distance between the both of you to be considered negligence. So, how do we counteract this? Well, the first option is easy. Just stab everyone on the team, end your frenzy, and start looking for an injured survivor. And whilst this is the most consistent way of doing things, it often isn't an option, and you give up an insane amount of pressure in order to do so. The second option is the preferred method and actually allows you to have some lethality whilst posing a mild threat. When you're chasing a survivor with frenzy, your job is to figure out where that survivor is headed and deny them resources. Whether that's pallets, windows, restraining orders, body block, like the game depends on it, because it fucking does. You need to push that survivor out into a dead zone where they have limited options to make distance from you, giving you enough time to end frenzy, catch up to them, and send their teabagging ass back to the campfire. However, if the survivor you're dueling happens to have a double-digit IQ, rare occurrence I know, it's your job to use frenzy to break that loop by abusing your vaulting speed to get ahead of them and interrupt their practice route. Trust me, survivors hate when you do this. It breaks their NPC pathing brain and they become confused, often allowing you enough time to turn them into a statistic. Now, despite the fact that Feral Frenzy is kind of a garbage power, it does allow you to make rotations fairly quickly. So personally, I tend to use it very aggressively when it comes to closing distance between generators outside of just stabbing survivors. That being said, you never really want to roll up on an injured survivor whilst Frenzy is still active. Overusing it can absolutely be a detriment, so the add-ons I recommend are Duration add-ons and the Legion pin. The Iridescent add-ons can be fun, but if you want consistency, being able to put survivors into the broken state for 60 seconds means you have that much time to end your frenzy, find them again, and then turn them into an obituary. Whilst Duration add-ons give you more time to close distance between multiple survivors, chain multiple stabs, as well as being useful to cover larger areas. I never run the cooldown add-ons because both of them together add up to only a second, which isn't significant enough to take up 2 whole slots in my opinion. 3 seconds is still long enough for that survivor to make you regret your decision to main Legion. In terms of perks, it's pretty simple. Legion wants to find multiple survivors to injure and harass off their objectives, but needs additional time to actually find kills, therefore benefits massively from slowing down the game. I find the best perks that complement this playstyle are Discordance, Thanatophobia, and Ruin Undying. But Average, what about Dying Light? Aw, look at you, you're trying! I'm sure your therapist would be so proud. Here's why Dying Light is garbage on Legion. It requires you to hook a survivor, and that means you have to down them. We already talked about Legion's lack of lethality, so this just doesn't work. Legion requires time to get rolling, and Dying Light doesn't provide any slowdown until you're already snowballing. Added to that is the fact that it only slows down the game and doesn't do anything to regress the game state. Legion's already great at slowing shit down, so Dying Light becomes redundant, and Ruin is also just better considering how good Legion is at chasing survivors off generators. You can also try running this build, but I wouldn't recommend it because Legion doesn't really have enough early game downing potential to make Pop and Barbecue viable. And we already talked about the fact that what little strength you have comes from stabbing multiple survivors, but hey, sometimes it's fun to just be an M1 killer and make one particular survivor's life hell. In short, embody what Legion is supposed to be wildly unpredictable, savor the hunt, stabby good, and understand that you're probably gonna lose. But hey, that's okay. Now you know how to play Legion. You're welcome.